All right, all right. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Thank you guys for jumping on to this episode of Expert Mentors Live. Super excited for our guest today, Mr. Curtis Johnson. And I know anything Curtis does, he always brings tremendous value. I've had the opportunity to know Curtis for several years, and it's just every time that I get to spend time with him, I'm always filling my brain with tons of nuggets, and I'm absolutely positive today will be no different. So
awesome. Thanks for having me, John. This is awesome. It's just such a great group, and excited just to share a few things. Hopefully it'll make a difference.
Yeah, and absolutely, I know you will. And that's really what Expert Mentors Live is all about. We've got so many amazing people inside of, the Fast Forward movement, Honey Badger Nation, and just so many amazing people that also want to, add value and give back to our community. And so that's what we do. That's what we're doing. And really excited to rock and roll with it today. For those of you that don't know Curtis, man, Curtis is, really one of the most innovative, pushing the envelope agents out there in the country that you'll ever have the opportunity to meet. And I've done all kinds of things, best-selling author, and crushed thousands of homes. I mean, where are you at? Over almost 5,000 total sales in your career?
Yeah, almost 5,000. Yep.
Yeah, it's amazing. And, constantly ranked, top of the top out of, Wall Street Journal rankings and all of the rankings out there. So, man, just super excited to have Curtis on and to let him run with, the fun and strategic agent attraction models, things that are working, and really how you guys can get the most out of everything that you're doing. So
awesome.
Curtis, welcome, brother. And man, I'll let you rock and roll.
Sounds good, man. All right, so jump in. And again, so sometimes I get ADD and I'm out in left field, but I got a bunch of stuff to go through. One of my big fears in life is being underprepared. So I like to over prepare for everything. But really this comes down to, it's a really simple concept in sharing the agent attraction model. And I know each week in Honey Badger Nation, we go through and talk about that. But a lot of people have been reaching out just because the reality is I've just been super, super lucky in attracting people and doing that. And obviously, just like if you're productive in real estate, people want to know, how is that? Why have you been so lucky? Why'd this happen? So I went through and I've just been trying to keep a few notes, and I try and talk to people and try and simplify it. And I think go through a pattern of simplifying it and then say, okay, well, let's take these simple concepts and take those a little bit deeper. So I'm just going to share just some ideas. This isn't all inclusive to everything that I've done. I'm going to share some real life examples, some scripts. And again, this is just modeling best behaviors and different things like that. But I'm just going to share real life stuff. There's other ways to be able to do it, but I think that this is what's worked for me. And this is how I've been really lucky to attract ballers, right? And a lot of people that are watching this. And so if you have any questions, go ahead and put it in there. We'll try and hit those again. But let me just kind of try and dive in and try and just do a brain dump on all the different things that have worked, that I've found that's been attractive and that have helped out. One, I just like to try and tell people is people talk about the EXP, it's passive income. And I'm just going to say there's really not a whole lot of anything passive about it. It is strategic. It is intentional. It is residual, right? It can happen year after year, but passive to me is mailbox money, right? This is something that you have to be able to build. First of all, you build it and then it becomes residual. And this is, I encourage everyone to go out and model best practices others who've done it. So many people have come to me and said, well, hey, tell me what you did. And I'll quickly tell them and they go, I know, but let me get a different answer. And the reality is the simpler you make it, that's how it goes. And everyone goes, I know, but really, what video do you really show? Or how does this really work? What do you really do? Like, give me the real answer. And the reality is exactly what I'm about to go through and tell you. And this is stolen from the 10 by 10 is it doesn't matter what works. It matters what duplicates. John, I know we've talked about this a lot, Jay and Mike. This is one of the things that was really important to me as I was going through and talking to Jay and really all you guys as we were considering coming over to EXP is why hadn't the company taken off the way that if this model is so amazing, why hasn't it just taken off? The model's been around for, 8 years, essentially. There's different parts of it. And I'm going to share why I think that that it hasn't, and why I think that the Honey Badger Nation is taking over and why we're the fastest growing group out of anybody out there. It's because it doesn't just matter about what works, it matters what duplicates. So if it takes an incredible chef in order to be able to run a McDonald's, you're not going to have very many McDonald's. And so what can we duplicate? And it can't just be duplicate for, superstar agents or anything. It has to duplicate for everybody, from the brand new agent to the person that's done thousands and thousands of home sales. What can work and what is that strategy? And I'm going to go through and share some of that. So I'm going to just a little bit about my story with that is my plan. I was first introduced to this about 18 months ago by my good friend, Brent Gove. We used to do some speaking with Jay and Brent and did some different things like that. And Brent, going to different events, I'd always like to share a room with Brent because he just the most engaging guy, just makes me want to be a better person and just love the guy so much. And he shared with me as he was leaving Keller Williams, he's like, dude, you got to look at this. I think I was one of the 8 people that he showed initially. And he goes, I feel like I'm going to jump off a cliff. Will you look at this and at least give me your opinion? I looked at it, or it was a phone. He had someone explain it to me on the phone, and I really just wasn't interested at all. I told him from the beginning I would look at it for him as a friend, but I was 100%. I just committed to another partnership, and I was not interested. Like, he could have been handing out gold bricks, and I just wouldn't have done it. So but I stayed in contact, and I watched what he built and what he had done. And then when it became time that I was like, okay, this is time to make a move, I went back, spent a lot of time with Brent, and I said, Brent, okay, again, kind of like what people say to me, tell me the truth. Tell me the truth. I know there's your story when you're on stage, but tell me the truth. What does it really take in order to be able to grow? And at that point, he was at 25 to 30,000 a month in, that he was showing me his checks. And that was after pretty close to right about a year. And I was just blown away at that. I was like, oh my gosh, that's like having, I don't know, what's that, like having $4 or $5 million in the bank, right? Getting money off that. And I said, tell me the truth. What did it take? And how was that? And he goes, he said about 1 out of every 3 people that goes through and watches the webinar and then gets on the phone with somebody ends up getting across the finish line and joins. And that's what, that he goes, that my strategy was he was going to get to 50 people. And he was like, I got to get 150 people to watch the webinar. And so every week he'd get 3 people. He'd reach out and have 3 people watch it and 1 person sign up, and he would just go through. And I thought, you know what? I'm a glutton for punishment, and I'm not that good. I'm not as good as Brent. I'm not as engaging. I'm just not as good as he is in almost every area. But I'm like, dude, I can outwork anybody. I said, you set the track up, and I'll just keep running until I die. And I said, so what I can do, I'm not going to get the same results as him, but I could commit to the process of going through and sharing the webinar. And I could go through, even if I got 150 people to watch it and not 1 person was interested, I knew I could sell earning the right to get people to watch the webinar. And as we launched, and I first started that first week, it blew up. It scrapped the whole plan, and it was a whole different strategy about it. But that was my plan going in, was, okay, I'm going to go through and get my head kicked in. I'm going to go through 150, and I'm hoping I can get a few people. My target for the end of year 1 was I wanted to get 40 people sponsored. I knew I was coming over with my team of about 20. I wasn't sure if any of them were going to come with me at all. I knew a couple would, but I really wasn't sure if anybody would. And I had come to the point where I was okay with that. And so that's what my plan was. And my plan was I wanted to get 100 total in my group. And I thought, man, if I could get to $5,000 to $10,000 a month, that was what my target was. And I was going to go through, and I was committed to the actions. And this is just after we came over the end of January, and this is kind of where we've ended up so far. I've just been, again, this is more credit to everybody else that's come over, and it's just amazing, amazing people. You can't really stop at this point. I've been able to bring over, 33 with that, and that's grown to 330 active, 352 total in the group, and it just blows my mind. I've just been so lucky, and just to, I'm telling you this not to brag, but mostly just I'm as shocked as most everybody else in looking at this. But the first month for our first full month, which was February, got a payment in March for $1,828. And what that means is almost the 2 years I was with KW, I got less than $500 the entire time there. So that was about 4 times as much. Blew my mind. absolutely was like awesome. You know, I was hoping to get $100 after like the first couple months. The second full month, I got a check or a direct deposit of $9,420. And I was like, dude, my wife was on board at that point. She was like, score, you know, again, anything over $5,000, it was kind of like, it's kind of almost like play money. And for the third month, $14,000. And then just a couple days ago, $26,000. And John, go ahead and ask me how my first year in real estate was. Ask me how many houses I sold and what I made my first year.
Yeah. How many homes did you sell? What was your total take home?
I was a rock star, dude. I sold 10 houses my very first year. The second year I sold like 40, 44. But the first year I sold 10 houses and I grossed, I think it was $24,000, which I spent most of that back in marketing and everything else. But I got a direct deposit for $26,000. So that just absolutely blows my mind. But that's more credit to everybody else that's joined and the power of once it gets going. You'd mentioned the Inman kind of being one of the innovators. And the cool thing about this, I'm not showing you just to brag about it, but just look here for a second. So most innovative real estate company for EXP, but then also for our team is a finalist for most innovative team. But look what they wrote. This is awesome. I totally think this is, I don't know. I just think this is so special. What they wrote about everybody else, how brilliant they were and how innovative and how they've done all these crazy stuff. And for years, we've really pushed the envelope. I thought, you know, you've worked with me on some different stuff, doing video listing presentations on the buyer side, doing all these crazy stuff. And I thought, man, they just ignored me. Never, they didn't get anything, right? And you know what they finally do? Read this. It says, having a real estate expert with Curtis Johnson's marketing chops and ability to connect with people can only benefit any brokerage. Johnson has acted as a key player in bringing other teams to join EXP where he operates his top-ranked team. So Inman gives me like, I'm an innovator. Why? Because of everybody else here. Like, how cool is that, right? They ignore me over everything else we come up with, but what do they notice? They notice winning. They notice when other people take action. I thought that was pretty cool. So I'm going to share 5 strategies that have helped me that I think are important as you go through. And maybe you're watching this later on a replay, or maybe even months or years from now, who knows, right? But these things I think are true principles. And the first one is we beats me. So if you're into note-taking and winning, write this down, right? Brent Gove talks about that ideas are like a fish. You got to stab them with your pen and paper, or pen and pencil, or whatever it is. So Write it down, put it on your notepad. We beats me. And that's use our team and technology and sell the people and experience and not just the model. As you go through, what does that mean? That means actually knowing about EXP. Dive in the back. I can't tell you how many people go, dude, I so want to grow. I want to do this or whatever. And they go, what do I got to do? I say, well, okay. So tell me, you know, how often do you go in the back end of this? Ask them simple questions about EXP. They have no idea. I go, dude, how could you possibly be able to sell something you don't know anything about? You haven't earned the right to be able to share something, right? It would be like you're trying to sell houses and go, okay, well, do you go out and tour and look at houses? No, man, I don't have time for that. I don't have time. Like, I don't have time to find my login to go into Workplace. I don't have my time for that. But they expect hundreds of thousands of dollars in residual. Is that nuts? Like, crazy, right? Like, you're like, no, you've got to earn the right. So go in, learn the system. Go through, understand, watch the webinar. And I'm not going to talk that much about it, but one of the cool things about people that do lunch and learns is it's a built-in environment for people to go to every week to learn the system again. And I think that there's power in that. So every week when you should be coming to the Honey Badger trainings, coming to the agent attraction, just because it should be teaching us what to do, right? This is just a picture in the back end of EXP's Workplace. Get in the back. Are you participant there? Do you when they make announcements, do you see that? You know, there's so much training. Do you even know what the training schedule is? It's hard to go try and talk to somebody else about EXP's training schedule if you don't even know what it is. And you go, well, there's 25 hours a week of training. And they go, well, like what? I don't know. Okay, well, how does that work? That doesn't work, right? You've got to at least know what that is. Share yourself and not just the company, okay? And so I'll talk more about this here in just a second, but be open, be yourself. People are attracted to people, not just the model. And I know that there's some people sitting there, and I hear it quite a bit is, well, that's fine, Curtis. That's good for you because you've done all these home sales. You've done this. Isn't this really limited thinking, John, when people look at this and they go, well, I can't do it because I'm not this person. I'm not white. I'm not black. I'm not tall. I'm not a guy. I'm not a gal. I'm not this. It's just limited thinking, right?
Yep. And you know, the thing is that there's a lot of excuses there, and it's very weak language. And so, like, if we want to accomplish powerful things, big goals, we have to use powerful language and powerful words so that the words that we're speaking, our mind will hear, and it'll allow us to have that belief in ourselves at a greater level to accomplish the things that we say we want to accomplish.
Right. So if you're thinking this in your head, get rid of that and just stay curious for a minute that, you know what, I could actually make an argument that it'd actually be easier if it wasn't me, right? And all the success I've had is not because of me, it's because of everybody else. That we do this as a group, and that nobody doing great at the attraction is selling themselves. It's all about us. I don't know anybody. I don't know, Jay doesn't go around talking about, well, hey, join because of me. I'm awesome. Right? Yeah. He talks about everybody else. He talks about our group. That nobody goes out there selling themselves. So the whole story that you might have in your head about, well, I can't do it because, I'm not a rock star agent, or I'm on a team. Everybody has the same opportunity. And there's nobody inside of our group that wouldn't be able to help you, that wouldn't, you're selling us as a group. Everybody's involved and everybody's willing to do it. I just put a picture here of Jay's schedule once. Why? Man, I tell you what, the first like 2 to 3 months, I was blowing him up like every day. I'm like, dude, can you talk to this person? All the growth and everything else like that is because of the people that we've got involved. This isn't like, you don't get a bonus at the end of the day. Here's your rev share check. And since you did it all yourself, you get like a multiple of that. Right. There's no pride in suffering by yourself, right? It's more fun as a group anyways. And so what I do, I model the same thing, right? I set up the same thing for me to people want to jump on a call. And as you start to grow, you have to really start managing your time. So be able to do that. So step 2 is don't be an asshole, right? And that's different than the ASS, all right? This is don't be an asshole. So what's an asshole? We talk about it, and that's just someone that doesn't bring value and that calls up and is just asking, right? You see some of the EXPers out there, right? That go in and they just throw up EXP stuff and they go, who wants to join? Who wants to join? Who wants to join? Who's going to join me, right? Man, that gets old and people tune you out. Be sincerely interested in other people and their business. And I just put down, okay, what are some questions? So some questions right here is like, ask them, like, just be as sincere as you can. Is like, how's your business going? How's prospecting going? What's working? What are you struggling with? Do you have a real estate business plan? Who's holding you accountable right now? Are you coaching with anybody right now? I promise you, if you even ask half of these questions in a legitimate dialogue with anybody, they're going to ask you about EXP. They're going to ask you, well, I don't have a coach right now. Who are you coaching with? Well, my team leader does it. Or, you know what? I don't have a business plan. Like, oh my gosh, you should get involved. The group I'm involved in, we get access to all the National Association of Expert Advisors, business plans, all these different things that are done for you. I really think, it's really helped me out, and it might be able to be something that would help you out. Are you open-minded about your business? That's it. I mean, just having a real legitimate dialogue, not because you're trying to manipulate them, but just be real with people. And here's something that I've seen firsthand, and that was when I first looked at this. I felt that Brent Gove and actually, a couple others that, man, they loved me whether I was coming or not. I didn't feel like a number. I just didn't. I felt like, they wanted it for me. And so here's the thing is you're going to share this with some people, could be, 2 out of 3 people, could be 80% of the people that are not going to join the company. They're not going to come over ever. They're just never going to come. Love them as much or more if they don't come to EXP. Yep. I'm telling you, man, if you reach out to somebody and you're loving all over them and then they say no and you drop them, Oh man, I'm telling you, you don't want to be that person, right? You're going to smell you a mile away. So just be real. How would you feel if that was you? You wouldn't like it, right?
Right.
So
Take
love them. Go ahead.
Don't be a taker.
Yep, absolutely. So give value at 9-to-1 ratio, right? Be a giver. And you know the people that do the most, and it's a little bit easier for higher producers, but this is for everybody, is be a giver, give massive value in groups. You know, if you're joining real estate groups, you don't want to be the person that goes in there and starts posting about EXP all the time. Go in there and give value. If you've got something that you can help and you can add, go share it. And one of the things I do is I set up like a top EXP 100 targets, right, in Facebook. I'll show you just a little bit about why I do that. But the biggest thing is start becoming a friend. And I use that because that's not my natural thing. I don't necessarily like to go on Facebook, you know, because it's a time suck to be able to do it. So I do it more from an efficiency standpoint than like, okay, these people are like a target necessarily. But in the back of Facebook, you can add people to a list, right? So I've got like on that EXP friends, and that's just my group of people that I've known, or a lot of people reach out and they want to be friends, and maybe they're an EXP, but they're in someone else's group or something. I still want to, you know, I still want to make sure that they're noted in there. But I also put EXP prospect. You could put that, you know, whatever you want. And EXP tree, that's the people that have joined, that I put them in there because why? I want to celebrate some of their wins. And sometimes I don't want to go into the whole Facebook. I want to just click on something. I want to see what people that I've got some affinity that are aligned with me, that they're winning and they're celebrating. I want to get to know them because that's not my natural style. My natural style is just to work, and I want to try to get to know them a little bit better. So I'd encourage you to do that. And when you put someone as an EXP prospect, and then you start liking their posts and you start commenting and asking questions and just being curious about their life, what happens is the more you like on their stuff, the more that your stuff shows up in their feed. And so when you've got those 100 people, and then all of a sudden, let's say you do a Facebook Live, all of a sudden that's going to be more likely to pop up in their feed. Okay, so just be as real and authentic as you can, and find people that you like. Find your tribe, right? Find the people. You know, if you're into the military and that's what you love, find people like that, right? If you're into sports, find people that are like that. If you're a mom and that's where your group is at, find that. Just attract the people that you want. This is just I've shared a lot of screen shares in this, but again, I don't have all the answers. This is just my experience with this, and you know, my experience has been, as we go through, is I'm not a big I'm not big into going to, you know, happy hours and stuff like that, but I've tried to put myself out there a little bit more and going to different events with it. This was one. Be around people that you want. Get in masterminds. Go be a giver. Go be able to do that. Like stir the pot. I like to go be around people that I like. This is a giver. This is Jen and Dan Beer and Kyle Whistle on here. They did a big event here in Phoenix, but they're giving back. You wanna know the people that are growing, the people that are giving. So people come, well, hey, you know, this the EXP is not growing. Well, guess what? It's not going to grow. It doesn't just grow on its own. That's not how this works, right? Is that you have to grow. If you want it to grow, you have to grow. Be the person that you want. Go be that person. I'd ask yourself, when's the last time you gave back? When's the last time you offered to go help somebody? And if you want to be a getter, be a giver and give 9 times more than you're taking in that. Yeah. Here's another screenshot of Jim and also Jen. They did this great thing in their office. But again, it wasn't just, hey, come see how awesome we are. It's sharing, giving what you know. That's what people want. John, do you have something on that?
Yeah, so I mean, it's like even what, you know, Cheplack shared with us in Jackson Hole, right? We got to get out of our head and get into our heart. And the more that we're able to do that, you know, the more that we're able to connect and like you said, add value to others, which is really cool. Yeah, absolutely.
So just some more examples here that I grabbed of people giving back. Like Kyle, if you watch any of Kyle's, webinars, or he's in an interview with my good friend Joshua Smith, man, just giving without going, well, how's this going to work out for me or whatever. And then they wonder, well, why do these people have, and then they go, well, they have so many people signed up because they're so amazing. Well, maybe it's the opposite, right? Maybe they're just trying to outgive the system. I don't know. Like, yesterday, actually, I think Kyle might be on stage right now. And Dan Beer yesterday was in an event, like 100 plus people giving, trying to outgive the system. Yeah. And that would be a strategy. Just try and outgive the system. Just outgive it, right? Try and put the universe to a challenge and say, I'm going to try and give away so much goodness in life and see if it doesn't come back. See if it doesn't come back, right? And again, I see a lot of people out there, and again, I've been guilty of this, so this isn't like I'm perfect. A lot of things I'm going to go through and share right here is I'm not perfect at, but I'll just share some things that I think we can all look at and we can all kind of maybe learn from. Is explain why things matter, and don't just share images or share links. And explain to me why, if I'm looking at this, why should I care? So on Facebook, this is an example. So we're doing with Kevin and Fred this week in Tempe. We're going to do a happy hour because they want to start building better culture here of everybody from EXP. So they said, hey, let's do this. So this is an example. Is actually, I just took a screenshot of it. The post is actually good, but I couldn't find one that was just crappy, and I didn't want to use somebody else's, right? So if you just posted this, if you just posted that, and you kept doing that time after time, like EXP, 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 come doing this without any words or without anything written about, like, why should I care? People are going to block you. People are going to ignore you. They're going to unfollow you and stuff like that. So you've got to share stuff, but then also, why should I care? And then also repurpose stuff. So I'm going to go deeper into some scripts and into a launch formula. But if you see on this, headline of what's happened since Kevin and Fred joined, right? And so I could keep just reposting the video, or I could say, well, hey, we did this the next day or the next day. So compound it and re-bringing people back to it as you go forward with it, right? So this was why'd they do it? Right? Going back, I think this might have been the day after. The next one might have been 2 or 3 days after it, right? Is space some things out. But again, it's not just a picture like, hey, look who joined EXP, right? It's about a write-up, a quick video, linking, and putting some time and energy into what you're writing. And here would be an example. Like, a lot of times I see people just put up a, EXP, cross 12,000 people, or this or that. In this thing, you could almost on a daily basis, you could see someone's, some celebrities doing something. This is before, I think this is before Zuckerberg got in trouble, or this is when he was on his hearings, right? Yeah. So I'm trying to tap into a little celebrity with it, right? And I'm putting my logo, where they're tying in. Maybe it's not the best thing to tie into Facebook right now, but they're trying to rehabilitate their image too, right? But I could just put a quote up, or I could slap a logo on it too, or whatever, right? So I just want to try to be in front of people on a pretty consistent basis with that. So that's just one idea. Here's a massive play on why this works, and the best introducer wins. The best introducer wins. So number 3, the best introducer wins. Don't overcomplicate this. Focus on the number. If there's one takeaway out of everything, this next like 1 minute is the big takeaway. The rest of it's just filler and fluff, right? But some good filler and fluff. But this is it. Focus on the number of people who complete the webinar overview, and those who, after that, you get on a call with somebody in your upline with a vested interest in them. That's it. You want to track 2 numbers, not how many people you send a link to. I can't tell you how many people go, oh my gosh, I sent this person a link. We got a joke here in my office that we're not link collectors, right? We don't go around collecting links of stuff. Is it how many people actually watch the webinar that you can confirm watch the webinar, and that you don't answer all their questions. You don't even really answer. You go, great. Hey, oh great. John, you watched the webinar. Fantastic. I want to get you on a quick call with Jay. He'll go over kind of a little bit about the vision of what we're doing in the company, answer any questions, because I'm sure most people, when they watch it, some different questions come up on, is this a good fit or not? So I want to get you on a quick call with Jay. Can we do that do you have time right now, or if you want me to try and see if I can get him on the phone, or maybe a little bit later this afternoon in maybe an hour or two, which one's better for you? That's it. Is that the people that are failing are the people that are sending links, they're not confirming that they watched it, And then they're sitting there answering all their questions over and over. At some point, when you've got a huge group going, you can go through and do that. But while you're trying to get traction, get them on the phone with somebody else. I was told that at the beginning. I didn't really buy it. I just thought, from a cocky standpoint, I'm like, I could answer the questions as good as anybody else could. Why do I got to do it? Something weird happens when you get them on the phone with somebody else that they don't have that personal relationship with, but maybe they admire a little bit, or they can just answer questions in a little different way that they wouldn't feel comfortable asking you. John, we good on that? Does that make sense?
That makes absolute sense, man. And hopefully everybody caught that. And that is absolutely gold, right? We're looking for those daily high leverage activities that are going to produce the results, right? And so, change our results, change our actions, change our thoughts. And so we've got our thoughts. This is the right thinking. That is the right action, and your results will follow. So that's absolutely critical, high leverage activity right there.
Cool. So again, the rest is going to come. So if you can't influence someone to watch a webinar and get on the phone to ask questions, then really, do you deserve revenue share, right? Because you're given revenue share if you help the company grow. But if you can't even, if somebody is so unimpressed with you that they won't even watch 30, 45, 1 hour video on their business, the business that they care about, that they think is going to feed them and their family and future generations. If you can't get them to watch a webinar about the opportunity of their lifetime, don't complain to me that you're not getting revenue share. Just don't. Like, it's hollow. It's embarrassing. Is that if you are a salesperson and you can't sell someone on watching a webinar, are you a salesperson? That's like a fisherman that doesn't catch fish. Like, seriously, come on now. Like, that's silly. You can't do it. So if you think you deserve revenue share, then you should be able to get someone to a webinar, and then at the end, don't answer all their questions. Get them on the phone with somebody else. If you do that and you still are failing in your mind, tell me about it, because I've never seen anybody do it. You know what I see people not grow, that sit and complain and whine, and they want to come up with all their strategies, how they're going to create these mastermind groups and do this, and they're going to go out and they're going to go to every open house and talk to every person, and they're going to convince them about what they're going to, EXP, or they're going to invite everybody to lunch, and they're going to take 10 people a week to lunch, and they're going to try and explain it over lunch. Man, don't make it hard. This is the easiest thing there's ever been. You sell them on the webinar. You sell the webinar and then you put on the phone. That's it. Everything else is fluff with it. So commit to the activity of introducing. The results will follow. We've got a lot of tools here about replication. Also, if you don't want to, invest in your business and be able to do anything else, you can go to Brent Go's creative video. It's the new re.com. So it's the new re.com has some different stuff there. But again, watch the webinar first. It doesn't matter. I don't care if they're a big player. The same thing with Dan Beer, with Kyle Wiz, everybody from all the way down, Kevin and Fred, everybody watch the webinar before you meet with them. It's just as simple as that. Like, I remember Brent Gove, the person I was that I was partnering in has an office of 800 people, and I was trying to get a meeting set up, and Brent's like, dude, I'm not going to do it unless he watches the webinar. And I was like, no, dude, I don't think you understand. He goes, no, I don't think you understand. I'm not talking to somebody that didn't watch the webinar. And I was like, all right, I need to learn from this. Is that someone that's built, thousands and thousands of people obviously has figured out a strategy that works. So why are we so cocky and presumptuous as to think that our way's better if we've got no one in our group? Why would you, that's just dumb, right? That's dumb. So, and again, I encourage you, as you start to do this, don't think small. The hardest people I've seen to try to convert over to EXP, and again, we can't convert anybody because they either see it or they don't, but I've seen the people that struggle the most, and the people probably that have been the nastiest to me, there's only been like 2 people that have even been remotely nasty, were the small, tiny producers. The people that are going to sell 3 houses a year, and they're going to go at the cheapest place, and they're like, why would you ever do that? Like, sorry, man, no offense, I don't want you in my life like that. I just don't. I don't need that hassle. And you're not going to sell 3 houses next year because you're going to be out of business. If you're going to swing the bat, swing hard, go for the big people, because the easiest people to have conversations with are the biggest producers. They don't ever get recruited. People just assume they do. They're easy. They understand. They're business minded. They get it. They see this as a business. So if you're going to swing big, those are the people that are attracted to it. Okay. 4, and I'm going to start buzzing through this a little bit, is who do you tell the world that you are? So who do you tell the world that you are? So if you did a review of your profile on social media, were accused of being an EXP, would you be convicted? Right. And when we went through, when I was starting to work on our graphics moving over to EXP, when it first started, it was the Curtis Johnson team, and there's EXP really teeny tiny down the bottom corner. And then when we launched and it blew up and I started, all these people were reaching out, wanted to talk about EXP. I was like, well, dang, maybe we need to make EXP bigger if people want to talk about that. And then it kept going, and I was like, dang, we need to make EXP way bigger. And so I encourage people, is if there's so many people that we've been conditioned to try and minimize the company, try and say, you know what, it's all about me as the team. It's all about me as the agent. It's about my brand. And I want to get rid of the company. Yeah, I think that's limited thinking in my opinion. I want to put EXP on a lot of stuff. I want to make it bigger because it's the conversation that's going on. So pull up your profile, look at that. Does it even say that you even work at EXP? Does it show anything? What would people, if they scrolled your profile, would they be turned off because everything is EXP? Or would they be like, okay, wow, I get they're at EXP, what's going on? How is that working? I see some people, they go, man, I'm struggling with with agent traction. I'm not growing it or whatever. And you look, and it still shows they work in 2 companies ago or whatever. So would people even know where you work? Would they even be able to convict you? I changed my profile picture. I know a lot of people, it's one of the easiest things to do. If you change your profile picture a lot, I don't know, someone had I don't know what they call it, a frame or whatever, right? So I put, what's that?
Right. Yeah. Keep going.
Yeah. They put a frame over it. That's one way to be able to do it. I think this is Twitter, right? You can tell I Twitter, Instagram or something. I don't really do that much, but again, at least it's on there. I think I've got an Instagram account. Yeah. I got 9 posts on there. I think when I was around Stuman, I made a post and I get all excited and I go, man, and then I don't actually log into Instagram and I get all freaked out and I turn it off. So, it's on my list of stuff, but at least if they showed up, at least I've got EXP on there, right? Okay, let's talk about launch formula. This is what I've seen work the best for people as we go through it. And I would encourage, if everybody here has already come over, but as you attract people, you want to have that take action, right? And there's ways that you could go back and you could recalibrate this. You could go back and re-talk about some of the different stuff. This is what worked for me, and that's as far in advance as possible. Either share a big coming soon announcement if you know about, hey, that someone big's coming over, to tease it, but don't tag the person in it, obviously, right? If you're going to have a announcement, you don't want to tag them in it because cat's going to be out of the bag, right? I use BeLive.com, and include as many big hitters as you can. Tag as many people on EXP as possible. I know some people are like, well, I don't want to give them credit. They didn't do anything, and bringing them, like, whatever. It's like, man, this is about eyeballs. This is about eyeballs. You need to get over that, right? And then try and give as many updates as possible. Day 1, give an update later in the day. Give, day 2, a 1-week update, and maybe after your first month or whatever. You know what? That's what the people that are growing are doing. I would say short of Brent Gove. Brent Gove is just so amazing. He can just go talk to people and they just kind of line up. For the rest of us mere mortals, let's use social media to our advantage. This is what we did a few days before I put a big thing up saying it was going to be a big announcement. I did a video with Chuck as we were coming over, and I had it done a couple days in advance. And so I put the words on it at the bottom of the screen so that it would be closed caption, because sometimes people have the audio off with it, right? So again, big news. You can tease it. Here's some examples of some teases that I did, right? So I'm going to share my 10 big ahas. Hey, there's going to be a big announcement coming up. People are curious about that, right? Here's Mark and Kyle talking about, I think there's Cynthia Jenkins out in Florida when she was coming on. I really like that, right? It's curiosity. People are curious about this. Game changer ahead. This was one. Kevin and Fred, they came over that they wear flip-flops all the time. So it was actually, cat was out of the bag. They were already, this was like an hour before they were coming on. So I felt pretty comfortable. A lot of people already knew who was coming because they leaked it to Inman already. that I could post this and that would be like, hey, they came out with these avatars. I thought that was kind of interesting. So again, as we launched, I could have just done a video on my own and said, hey, I'm coming to EXP, but I was like, dude, Jay, let's go through, let's talk about this. Why? Because I knew he had more followers than I did, right? I knew that we had a lot of the same people in the same circle that maybe he would have converted, but guess what? Maybe some of those people would be they were in our same circle, but they would reach out to me, and that's what happened, right? People reached out to me. Same things as went through. I gave a 90-day update here. Some of my posts I actually had to take down because they showed more screen shares in the back of the system, talked about what the rev share was and stuff like that. But just doing an update, people love the updates. I'm telling you, they love the update. Again, I didn't do a video here. Facebook Live is way better than just static images. But, here was just a one that I did. And, people reached out like, hey, what's going on? Tell me about that. You just find different ways to be able to do this. This was just trying to be, I did a Facebook update, and I tried to come up with some stuff I didn't like about EXP. I probably got more comments about that personally than anything else. Like, dude, thanks for just being real about it. The onboarding is a disaster, about this. Or here, I think I was talking about when I came over, one of the people, or a few of the people that looked at me as a dollar sign got all mad at me because of who I chose as my sponsor. And I just shared, I wasn't ready for that. I hadn't factored in. I thought people would be happy for me. And, they're happy for you when they think they're going to make money. But as soon as that ends, sometimes those friendships are strained. Just giving updates with it, again, finding a way to be able to give an update. And again, I'm just looking at these numbers, like, some of these like 3,000, there's like 3,400 people saw that. I couldn't get 3,400 people to watch something, but they're curious about it, right? The Jinx and Gus, they trusted me right out of the gate. And right at the beginning, you need some momentum, right? And they trusted me, and they're just such amazing people, and they're growing. And I was able to help me and also help them, right, get that word out there. Dan and Kyle and Mary, they had probably the most extravagant launch strategy out in San Diego, because they were going to take over the whole area, and they did. The night before, they had a dinner, about 50 massive producers. The next morning, we did a Facebook Live. I think this one, 11,000 people watched this one. But again, you're tagging and bringing in a lot of people with that. I'm seeing people miss that opportunity to bring in more people. This, I think we reposted maybe a couple days later, 11,000 views with Dan and Mary. And Inman reached out. They did an article on them. Again, they reached out and did an interview with me on that. So anything you can do to be able to publicize, go with it, right? We knew when Mark Z was going on this, I think this is almost 11,000 views with this. Again, this was spur of the moment. We didn't have enough time to build this out. But one of the things he did really good was he tagged like everybody in his team, like, and share it, because if people are tagged, they're more likely to share it. And they're going to Facebook, let the algorithm work for you, right, with this. Repurpose it, put a picture the next day of it or different stuff. But again, you want to, if all you're posting is EXP, that's not good. You've got to put in personal stuff. And so that encourages you to be as open as you can. But if all you're posting is EXP stuff, people are going to block you. If you've got to be open about yourself, and I don't like it. Like, people are like, well, I'm not a social media person. Dude, I get it, man. Me neither. I totally get it. But this is what we have to do if we want to win. Again, this is when Jen came over. They did an amazing job, launching her. Again, these Facebooks with Brett Baker, these are just launches with Roe here. Yep. Again, try and bring in as many people as you can. And Facebook Live, let the algorithm work. This was awesome. This was when Tammy came over, a launch that they did live at the EXP conference. Even with the camera being sideways, it still rocked, right? It was still there. I think we even did another one after. This one, Kevin and Fred. This one would have even been better, but right before we went, they did a 5-minute one just to their group and what they were doing. And then we did the interview after. But again, we used that and we said, how can we amplify this? And so we reached out to Inman and said, hey, I got someone big coming over. Do you want to do an interview on this? And she goes, yeah, absolutely. So we set up interviews. And so we were ready for it, right? So amplify those different things. When Templeton and his team came over, we didn't do, I mean, he did a Facebook Live and he tagged, but again, I went over to their team meeting the next day, amplify things as you're going through. But one of the things, if you see in here, people are having fun. People are attracted to fun. If you're, if you're boring and you're like, hey, come hang out with me and all the boring people. Nobody wants that, right? No, this is the most fun ever in real estate. So let people know about it. That's what people are attracted to. I'm going to share just a couple of screen shares and some other different things. We'll hit a couple scripts here, and then we'll do Q&A if there's any questions. But this is on my team. I could look for different ways to be able to share people on your team, maybe even just friends. Maybe they're people in your rev share group or whatever. Celebrate them. Find things that are going on, and you put your logo out there. Again, you're being in front of it. Even if their family, maybe someone in their family goes, hey, dude, great. Congratulations, you sold this house. So what's this EXP thing you're doing, right? It is a buzz. Take advantage of it. This is the wind at our sails right now, right? So I thought this was awesome what Kyle did for Arlo and just posted on there. Again, anybody could do this, right? And I'm falling short in this. This isn't something I'm doing great. I'm just admiring these people that are going out and doing this. I think that is awesome. There's a lot of stuff out there that you could be able to use. And it's like, well, maybe you didn't, sponsor Kyle or somebody else like this, but guess what? They're here for us. They believe in the cause that they're doing. But what if this stuff's available if you want and use, say, why am I at the same company as this person or whatever, right? You don't want to abuse them, but at the same point, we're all pulling together. We're all shareholders in this company. We're all trying to grow together. If you haven't gone to Mark Z's site and read this, you really need to. He crushed it with this article, and I just thought he was so amazing with his write-up. But I thought the cool thing with this is it's been 30 days now since I left Keller Williams, right? And he went through and lined it all out. So have you done this? Model, what's your story? Even if you're like, well, I'm not Mark Z. Well, guess what? No one, very few people are as cool as Mark Z, right? We're all struggling trying to go through and live life not being Mark Z. But we could all write our story. We could all share inside your world. We're all big shots in our own world. So a lot of people go, what scripts do you use? Right? And so some of these different scripts, these are all taken from other people. I didn't come up with any of these on my own. These are all ones that work. And so, John, you want to try and break any of these down or anything else like that? Some of these are Jay, some of these are Brent's or anything else like that?
I think what would be awesome is kind of go through and like where do you use them and how are you sending them and just give everybody on the call some actionable items that they can take
yep.
and get back to what we talked about, getting somebody to actually watch the webinar today. So I think that would be really helpful.
Sure. Okay. Well, I'll just role play with you then, right? And so again, everybody wants to make it more complicated. Everybody's like, well, I got to go take a day to write out a script, or I got to go take a day. Like, man, it just is not that complicated, right? So, hey, John, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good.
Hey, good. Hey, I've been dying to ask you, have you looked at this EXP platform yet?
Man, honestly, no, I have not.
Yeah, I get it, man. Hey, I'm still super new here with the company, and I respect you for all the success you've had over the years and really kind of building your business and building, obviously, so many of your clients' business. Now, if I sent you like a super short webinar, would you watch it and give me your opinion? Kind of feel free to shoot holes in it. Just wonder if I'm missing something here.
Yeah. Send it over. I'll take a look at it.
Okay. So again, I don't think that's too complicated. Obviously there should be probably a little bit of dialogue before this based on whatever you're doing. But the biggest thing is just saying, hey, have you looked at this EXP platform yet? Now, that's a little bit different than have you heard of EXP, because before a lot of people hadn't heard of EXP. Now people have heard of it. You might just say, have you really kind of broken down this EXP platform yet? One of the things I like to use from the beginning was, hey, you know what? And Brent talks about this segment. Hey, don't ever come to the company. That's fine. But I would just hope that if someone had, if I didn't know about Zillow and I was in the real estate game, I'd kind of feel out of place. Anybody that's in the game right now that doesn't know how the EXP platform works, even just out of morbid curiosity, I would hope that you'd want to at least look at it to kind of see, if nothing else, what you're going to be competing against, what you're going to be recruiting against, if it's a team or something else.
Absolutely.
So, you seem like somebody that's, are you open-minded about your business?
Great question. Great question. So Curtis, why do you use the word platform instead of model, business model, or anything of that? Why that particular language?
Me personally, the EXP platform has been around for a long time, and there's a reason why I think it grew, but why I think it's exploding now. And I think that because it is a platform, it's kind of a blank slate that we all come together and we get to paint whatever image and we get to paint whatever we want on that. And so I think it's a vehicle to help us all align together that we can all go win. So that's where that kind of comes from. Got it.
That's awesome. And okay. No, I mean, I think this is all fantastic. And is there anything that you're using just to be able to even get a conversation, right? Like maybe you haven't had conversation, you're shooting a text or shooting Facebook message, anything like that, that really will spark that conversation?
To me, the biggest thing is I just try and be as real as possible, right? And I just like maybe message you, hey, John, how you doing, man? Was just thinking about you, sending you good vibes today, buddy. That's it. And if you're a nice human being, you'd respond back like, hey, I'm doing good, man. How you doing? I'm doing good. Hopefully we'll catch up soon. And in a lot of cases, it comes back either that day or maybe 2 days later or whatever. Again, if you've been non-existent in their life, you haven't earned the right to offer this to people. You haven't earned an hour of their time.
Right.
You want to earn their time, give them some of you. Go give. And then when you've given, then is it okay if I've just given you, like, let's say, John, if you just coached me for an hour or two over the last 2 weeks, and then if you go, hey, Curtis, can I ask you, would you look at this platform and give me your opinion on that? I'd have to be a world-class a-hole to not do that.
Not do it.
World-class.
Right.
It doesn't mean I'm going to move my whole business over there, but I'd have to just be world-class. So if you're not getting people to do it, you're not giving them enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's an absolute great point that you hit on there. Hey, we've got, we're coming close to the top of the hour. We're starting to get a couple of questions. I want to make sure we hit on them.
Okay.
One of them was from Jim asking about all of your Facebook posts. Are they on your personal or are they on your business page or both?
Personal. I've got very little on my business one, all personal. This is a personal game.
I love it. And we had a question about what do you like about KV Core? What is the most beneficial feature of it? And what should every EXP agent use KV Core for right now?
I can't really speak to that much. I do have a login. I have that account, and I've gone through that. But when I came over with my team, we're using Firepoint. And I said, you could change the toilet paper and you lose 25% of your team and your company. And so when I came over, I said, okay, I'm going to change as few things as possible over the first 6 months. So we're coming up on that 6 months, and there's a good chance that we were leaning towards going towards Commissions Inc. But I think we're leaning more towards going over on KV Core, but waiting for that full transition to happen. And then we'll have those side by side for a month or two, and then make that decision fully. But I mean, from the sphere of influence stuff in KV Core, I think is amazing. And, it's just about what system you'll use. But I think it's a great thing as you're using it to be able to share with other people that it's working.
Right, absolutely. And everybody that I know that they're currently in the move over process, so they just don't have enough experience with the tool yet. And just even talking with some of our agents and crew here in Dallas, they're like, $50, I'll make it work. And so and we know that, right? The best tool is the tool that you'll use. And so if they're willing to commit to use it, then they'll have success with it.
Yep.
We had a feedback objection question. It's kind of off topic, but we got it thrown in. Let me throw it at you. And this is listing agents respond to the common showing feedback remark. And here's the feedback remark. They absolutely love it. It showed great. However, they are just starting their search and want to see other options. It's their first home they've seen, so not ready to write an offer just yet.
Okay.
So how do you handle that objection?
I don't know if it's necessarily an objection as much as it's just feedback on that. Go, hey, I appreciate it. I think that this home is, hopefully you're not taking overpriced homes, but just say, you know what, I think that, obviously I think this is a great house. It's going to sell fast. And obviously this is the first house that you guys have seen. But there's a good chance this might be the 6th or 7th house somebody else saw yesterday. And chances are it's not going to be here for very long. So hopefully you guys look at a lot pretty quickly, and we'll be able to open up negotiations later this evening.
Perfect. I think that was awesome. Cool. So I know maybe got a few here. You want to wrap up kind of with the
Let me go through like 2 more slides real quick, and then we'll just so everyone can see this on here. These are just some things from Brent and some other people like that. You've got to bring passion, right? Bring passion to we'll just end with this one right here. I think this is pretty good. You got to bring passion to you're selling the webinar, right? So if anything else you're coming back to is, Brent talks about a short webinar. Well, everything's relative, right? Some people might think an hour is a long time. Some people might think it's a short time. If you sat through a 3-hour movie, an hour is pretty short. If you've got an attention span of a gerbil, then yeah, it might be pretty long. But going back to everything is, don't overcomplicate it. Get them to a webinar. Your job is to sell the webinar. If you can't sell the webinar, you don't deserve rev share. You just don't, right? If you can sell the webinar and you can then get them in a conversation with somebody else, the chances are that we'll all be able to grow this and be able to attract the right people that we want.
Man, absolutely. I absolutely love it. Any final parting thoughts? I do have one thing that you mentioned right at the beginning of the call that I hope everybody got and took away from it was you mentioned the key word, and it's intentional, and really being intentional with your thoughts and with your actions. I think you gave away the 2 best actionable items and a lot of great nuggets to help them take action immediately to really get the results. Any final parting words that you want to kind of leave everybody with, and then also the best way for people to get in touch with you if they have questions moving forward?
Sure. Best way, I like Facebook Messenger the best. And with that, last takeaways. I thought coming over here, I thought that EXP would just be an incredible vehicle with all of us to be able to come together and build something. And I know for years we've masterminded about how do we build like that company of the future? How do we build this? And then we realized that someone else already did it, and that all we have to do is just kind of slide into the driver's seat. That I genuinely have never been happier about real estate. I've never been more excited about it after almost 20 years of doing this. And I believe at every core level of my body that this is our one shot. This is what I've been praying about. This is what I've been hoping for and looking for the last 15 years. And this is our shot. And if you watch it go by, that's up to you. If you watched, my team, we came over here about 5 months ago, and I promised my team I would lead from the front, that I would go show what's possible. And if you've been sitting on the sidelines, right now, we're getting overcompensated because we're early, and it's still going to be early for a while, but this is our one shot in our lifetime. So I would say jump in. Don't be a toe dipper. Don't just dip your toe in. Jump in the deep end. It's a lot of fun, and let's just go absolutely blow it up with the right type of people. Just having a ball.
Cannonball in. I love it, man.
There you go.
Curtis, brother, I appreciate you. Amazing call, adding tremendous value as always, and really thank you for leading from the front there, really being a true expert mentor and helping everybody out on the call today. For all of you guys on the call or listening to the recording, share with us in the Facebook group. Give Curtis lots of love, and then also share your biggest takeaway in the comments below with this posting. Appreciate you guys. Thanks, and have an awesome day. Thanks, Curtis.
Thank you.
See ya.